Okay, this is a weekly meeting of the development team for open source ecology. Today is Monday, April 30th, and this is Jared Wilk. Jared, go ahead and say hi.
Hello.
And I'm Aaron Mackrook. Other members of the team are Robert Anto and Helen. What's her last name?
McFarlane?
McCorlin?
McFarlane?
Yeah, Helen McFarlane in Ireland, I believe. So that's OSC Europe. They couldn't make it today. But so Jared, let's kind of jump in here. I opened this document to kind of be a brainstorm sheet on things that we're going to work on.
Okay.
So you want to kind of debrief me on where you're at the moment?
Yeah, so I already sent you the link to those two prospects that I found, the Energy Foundation and something with, it was a more local, what was that? Something like Missouri USDA, that's right. Like the Missouri branch of the Department of Agriculture. Um, so I've just been waiting on those to know how to proceed for, and then for the USA Development Innovation Venture, uh, just been reading over the new, they had a new solicitation with a much shorter, they first just want a letter of interest now. That's about 3 pages. Same material, just they specify about a half a page for each section.
Okay.
Um, so the first big thing on that, I had mentioned. It looks like I kind of changed my what I was thinking our project scope for. They have 3 stages of funding, and I'm thinking stage one should be not just building the GVCS, but also that 1 year, like the community, 200-person community testing it out.
Okay,
Um,
so that's kind of segueing into some other stuff. So before we dive into the USA, do you have any other? Are these the three main things you're working on?
yeah.
All right, cool. So we decided to write a strategic plan that's going to be pretty stable. We're not going to make too many changes to it after we confirm it.
Okay.
So that's in the works right now. The process for writing that plan is Martin's going to write the first draft, and then we're going to have a core team look at it and give feedback, and we're bringing in advisors to kind of help us with that process, and then we're going to open it up to community feedback, and then it's going to be approved by the board of directors. So pretty formal process, but the end result will be a pretty clear plan. But the way that that's starting to shape up in terms of what the programs are going to be are, um, let's see, since we have roughly 46 tools that we have to develop left, um, instead of trying to do like 10 at a time, we're going to try and just focus on developing one product using the extreme manufacturing platform, and we're going to try and document that whole process, build a comprehensive team, and do it as fast as possible, and then do it
Um,
as well as possible, and that'll be a test case.
okay.
And once we have that test case done, we'll start scaling the process and really start getting some high level funding for that, because that'll basically be our proof of concept.
Okay.
And so once we prove that we can do it with one machine, then we'll start scaling it, getting more funding, and doing multiple machine developments at a single time. And now the other thing that we're doing is we're starting our training program July 1st. It might even be sooner. So what that looks like is we've been doing a ton of recruiting interviews, and we've got a pretty like long list of people that want to come out and volunteer as apprentices
Great.
all summer. And so Marchand has laid out some hiring goals. We want to basically hire the management for different development tracks. We want like someone to manage the development of the GVCS. We want someone to manage the agriculture at Factory Farm, someone to manage the construction, and someone to manage the fabrication. So once we have those elements in place, those will be different training tracks that our trainees, our apprentices can start, being involved in,
Okay,
and everyone's going to learn things. Everyone's going to be able to learn everything, but we're going to have specialized tracks too, and we're going to try and bring in some pretty cool leaders to come in and do that. So
great.
that's all in the works starting July 1st. And a big thing with grant writing and getting large grants is that you have to be able to prove that your theory of change works. So your theory of change is something like, if I do X, then I'm going to create Y as my social outcome. I'm going to create this social return on an investment. So we're going to do evaluations on before and after on the way that our trainees actually change in terms of skills development, attitude, outlook, and just their ability to engage in economic development for themselves, starting businesses, building machines, and repairing it. So that's kind of a gist of an outline of where we're at. We're also looking for an on-site documenter, but I think you and I, what we can do in the meantime, while because the ideal time to apply for some of these grants is going to be um, after we get the results of that first process. So because we really want to have results that we can prove that our work actually is effective. So we want to be able to reflect that in our grants. So
Can I
we can still write grants in the meantime.
can I interrupt for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just I'm not sure. Like, what would that process prove that like the four that we've already built doesn't already show?
Okay, so what we've done is formalized. Okay, so
Well, see,
when you're a nonprofit, you deliver programs to the community, right?
yeah,
And one of our programs now, as we've formalized it, is we are developing an extreme manufacturing product development pipeline for the translation of vital human innovation into the open source domain for everyone's benefit. So the product development pipeline is one of the programs that we're offering because our longer goal is to open source the entire economy. So we're actually developing a way for people to take an idea for an innovation or some existing closed IP machine and translating that into a fully documented, fully released open source piece of innovation. So what we haven't done yet is formalize that process and tested it. We've got a certain amount of results that we can move on. We've got 4 beta release machines, but we want a higher level and a higher standard of documentation for those machines. So we're actually going back and we're going to redo a few of those machines that we've already done with the new platform.
I see.
Um, it's pretty exciting because we're taking it to a higher standard of rigor, and we're going to document everything, and we're trying to get all the team members in place so that we don't have to outsource anything. So, that includes like a CAD person to do CAD design. We're actually maybe trying to get what Martin is calling a flash mob team of people who are remote collaborators who can swarm together in a virtual environment to complete a given task. So, for example, if we needed, let's say we had a machine that was prototyped. No, let's say we had a machine that we wanted to create CAD from. So we go in at Factory Farm, we use the 3D scanner that's in development, we scan this real prototype, and then we've got a virtual online piece of software where people can go in and collaborate together to knock out the CAD designs for that prototype.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot this is good for you to for me to download to you kind of where the current thinking is because you're going to have to reflect it in the grants and we'll work together on that. And I've actually got a strategy for that. But to back up a little bit more, in the meantime, we'll go after these grants. We've also our letter of inquiry was accepted from the Shoemaker Family Foundation, so you and I can work together on that. We've got a pretty cool plan for that. And then okay, so the other thing that I'd like us to work on, these are uh,
Can I ask a question about
yeah,
the stuff you've just been saying?
yeah.
It almost sounds then like at first I've been looking for grants for like an innovative tool set. Uh, it almost sounds like this shift would be like towards education grants.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be both. I mean art here. Let me. So the program areas that we work with, education is one of them. Environment, and then technology, innovation, enterprise development. So those are our main funding areas. The education side is pretty obvious, right?
Uh-huh.
The environment is we've developed. I mean, but instead of getting into this at depth, like just a brief overview, we're developing clean energy systems that can be built locally. Um, there's actually really just like another. Okay, so we're developing clean energy systems and we're relocalizing manufacturing, which means that goods don't have to be transported all over the world in order to get to the end user. We're also
Yeah.
doing like lifetime design, which cuts down on the number of things that have to be made. Everything is built to last a lifetime and repairable and to be repairable. So we're not mass producing many generations of the same thing in an inferior format. And then we're using local ecosystems to produce the raw materials that communities will develop their entire economies from. So that will be like respecting and integrating in the natural ecosystems is going to be just built in to the way that manufacturing will be developed in the future. And then the technology innovation, that's obvious. You've already been working on that. Enterprise development, we're building an archive of open source business models. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And we're training people to build their own businesses. So, and then the end result will be a more resilient civil society in the face of climate change, which threatens to disrupt the social order internationally. But anyway, you can do research in all of these areas, okay? And all of them will apply. That's fine. Did you have any other questions?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so
Cool.
we've got these grants. Let's go over those in depth in a minute. The other thing that I want to go into is what are we? The development team page.
Yeah.
I don't have a link for that. Do you have a link for that? It was a prototype at one point.
Let's see. No, I don't.
Okay. Uh, let me see if I can find that. Shit. Uh, I'm just going into the wiki.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Test XM page. Okay, this might be it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so let me send you this link in Skype. Actually, I'll just send it. I'll send it in the doc.
Okay.
And then will you pull that page up?
Yeah.
So this will be our central point of collaboration, except for I need to add a few things to it. But the goal is to modularize the grant writing process with our language so that you can copy and paste.
Great.
Um, and then we've migrated from, instead of having using status logs like your log, I mean, you can still use that if you're interested in it, but I created, if you go back to the document, check out this link. Are you in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch this. I'm going to create another row. I'm just going to put the date. Uh, I'm going to put the link of our doc here. I might change this link to the video link, and then because I'm gonna post this in our on the YouTube page.
Okay.
Um, so okay, so you see how I just did that?
Uh, it's row 3.
Yep, it's row 2.
Or, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now if you go to see my tab down here, Aaron,
Um, no.
at the you don't see the tab at the bottom that says Aaron.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go.
See how it
Yeah.
automatically put my thing in here at the top? So this,
Yeah.
if you enter your stuff at the first sheet, like let's go back to status log sheet.
Okay.
Go ahead and insert a row.
Okay. So, computer's just a little slow.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, looks like I don't have
Yeah.
the access to do that.
Let me just give you access. Okay, so refresh the page. You probably have access now.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so insert a row. If you don't have a link, that's okay, and then just put Jared in there. Now, if you go to the Jared tab down here, it automatically shows up. You see that?
Yeah.
So let's.
Oh, looks like it showed up twice.
That's because I entered one previously.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you,
Nice.
so you never edit your tab. The tab is just receives the output of a formula on the first page. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can keep up all your stuff in here, and you can be as detailed as possible. Like if you make a phone call, you can be like, I called this person or whatever. You know what I mean? We're still. This is going to be the center point of everybody's logs. Um, we're still, it gets neglected a little bit. I don't put all my stuff in there yet, but that's the goal is to get everybody doing that, and that way you'll be able to just see everything that's happening at Factory Farm. Okay. So this will be embedded in our resource team development page,
Okay.
and we're still using the Scrummy board, the task board.
Mhm.
So when you complete a task, you put it in that status log.
Okay.
And then let's go take a look at the resource development team page again.
Okay.
If you scroll down to grants plan,
There we go.
so let's fill this in. I've got a bunch of stuff we can throw in there. I've got like a private document for our prospects. Our goal, the goal is, the long-term goal for this or midterm goal is to have a grants plan for an entire year, so that we're fully aware of all the deadlines,
Ah.
and then we can just automate that process.
Yeah.
And then below that, grant application questions and answers.
Yeah.
We want to fill in all these sections with language. Um, I still have to work out the kinks for exactly how we're going to do that. But let's look for the best language we can, and then we'll you know how the comment system works in Google Docs, so we can get people to review the way that we use our language and our messaging.
Yeah.
And if you look under the advisors and team towards the top, we've already got people who have started doing that, and we've listed them there.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's kind of where that's at. So within the next week, we're going to migrate into full use of this page. Um, Now, if we go back to the grants or the brainstorming document,
Okay.
um, let's go through these 4 grants real quick.
Okay.
So I called the USDA Rural Business Enterprise Grant
Mhm.
office. It's the St. Joseph office. Actually, that's not true. It's let me just this is what I was told to get. So they want marketing materials, website. Let's get rid of this bold. So they want marketing materials, our website, a package of what we do, basically. So we'll put up some stuff in there. It'll include 3 years of financials, and then the person that we're contacting is Jeremy Brady out of the Maryville office. I guess Maryville is the county. Um, so
Okay.
um, Okay, so the money that they get their money is or their budget is approved by Congress. So they're due to have another source of money coming through in October, but they said now is a good time to put in our grant,
Okay.
um, so that we'll be first in line. They said apply for $50,000 and then we can come back next year. So that's something that we'll do. It looks like a pretty good one. They want give them a list of business. So they said half a dozen businesses. So they want a list of people that we've helped. So
Okay.
we'll go through that. Um, and then, so the Energy Foundation, um, I called them last week and I found out that they do accept um, nonprofits that work with fiscal sponsors.
Mhm.
How much do you know about our fiscal sponsorship? Are you familiar with that?
I know that you're kind of under the Terra Foundation's umbrella,
Yeah, that's right.
80%.
Yep. And they have no deadlines. They have a huge board, and a huge list of staff members. Um, we need to find out basic information. So we should streamline this into a form. But for now, we need to know things like, I've looked at their program areas too. I mean, that's a good find. How did you find that?
Uh, it was a link that I found on a page that national for the annual survey that we did. One of the questions Marson asked was like, "Do you know of any grant makers we should check out?"
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, good way to use that. That's awesome. That's a good source. Okay, so since they don't have a deadline, I think our priorities are the USA div because we can turn in that LOI at any time, right? For this one.
Uh, you mean there's a deadline? Yeah, we can anytime.
So let's get that turned in.
Okay.
Um, do you have the criteria for what needs to be in it?
Yeah.
Can you pull up a link and link to it under here on the C?
Yeah. Oops. What? Okay. There we go. I just put it at the top of the document we already had for the application.
Okay, cool. Um,
It's nothing new, but it's shorter answers.
so we got our DUNS number. Um, well, before I jump into that, so do you want to write this 3-page thing? Um, actually, let me look at it. Oh, this is it. Nice. Cool, man. Good job, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so you notice how like their questions all are every grant has a lot of the same kind of questions.
Yeah.
So the development challenge, your solution. So it's a problem statement, and it's often either people want to know like what problem are you addressing or what opportunity are you addressing. So
Yeah.
that's pretty common. Objectives, there's this thing called a. Have you ever heard of a logic model?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up a logic model. Okay, so let me send you this little link here. You see that link in the doc?
Yeah.
Okay, when you pull that up, you see the graphic.
It's still loading. Yeah.
Okay, so normally this is logic models are generally broken up into it's just a graphical representation of what's called a theory of change. So the theory of change is if I do this, then I will create this good for the world, right?
Okay.
So the if I do X is this is the X under inputs. Okay, so inputs are things that you put into the programs like staff, time, money, resources, documentation, training materials, all that kind of stuff, factory farm. The outputs are actually like the physical objects that are created. It's material outputs. So things like for us, what would be the outputs for our programs?
The documentation um, of all the 50 GVCS and like the training workshops at Factory Farm.
Yeah, totally. Those are yeah, exactly. Other answers would be like the machines themselves, and then maybe the enterprises themselves, the enterprises that people. I mean, things like business plans would be kind of an output. Um, but yeah, it looks like they're getting into even things like campaigns. So yeah, a campaign is an output, and then outcomes and impact. So outcomes, you've got your short and your midterm and your long term. The impact is really your long term outcome. But
Okay.
in the short term, what would be the outcomes of our programming?
Uh, Maybe an increase in employment and let's see, definitely like training in engineering skills, uh, aspirations and motivations. So maybe just a shift in economic culture, like people becoming more interested in like an open source and localized economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would break it up a little bit like that. In the short term, we're going to change a specific group of people's attitudes and skill sets. The trainees that come in for the short term. In the midterm, we'll have more of a cultural. The midterm
Oh,
and long term will have more of a cultural impact on the larger society. And then our long-term goals are things like develop the open source economy, create a post-scarcity society, relocalize manufacturing. And then a couple others that I won't mention right now because we're still getting strategic about our messaging with that. But this kind of flow. If we go back to the U.S. aid grant,
yeah,
the objectives you've got your problem statement and then you've got your anticipated results. That kind of mirrors a logic model, the impact and scale.
yeah,
Competitive landscape, this is a pretty, like section D, that's a pretty, we could really beef up our program or the grants program there by really doing some market research on the potential economic impact of the machines themselves, but also like who else is doing this kind of work, if anybody,
yeah,
and either reach out to them and learn from them or whatever, and then measuring success. That's kind of where we were getting to with when I was saying that we were going to test the development of a single machine with extreme manufacturing platform. This is we're getting specific data on how successful we can be with that program as well as our training program. So we'll do things like pre and post evaluation surveys of our trainees, right? So
Yeah.
that's how we'll measure the success. And then our team, we're building that right now. Um, so this is three. Okay, half page limit. You've already got that started. Objective isn't okay. Let me see how you did that. Okay, yeah. So I see what you're saying. You were looking for foundations that were. I hope I didn't just mess it up. You're looking for foundations that support technological development, right?
Yeah.
I think we definitely want to add in so half a page. So do a paragraph instead of. Let's try and streamline this. Make this into a paragraph, and then do a paragraph on the education because you've got a half page limit.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
okay, for the scale and impact, I'll come back. Actually, let me just look for that on the wiki. Building a team, I think that's it. Okay, yeah, so building a team, check this out. You can reference our scale and impact from what Marchand has written here. Under C, I just put a link under C.
Okay.
Um, the project team, let's hold off on this for let's hold off for like a week because we're doing like final interviews on Friday with some people.
Okay.
Um, measuring success. So these are things like there's a really if you go back to the building a team section,
Mhm. Yeah.
check out the Factor E team learning community.
Uh, where is that? Factor E. I see 1, OSE development abstract. 2, problem statement and solution. 3, OSE campus. 4, scaling strategy and building a team. 5, 4. Okay.
This paragraph here, we are accepting people for dedicated project visits. This is a
Yeah.
pretty cool thing. It shows like we're gonna have different development tracks, like fabrication. We'll learn the technical development, construction. So an
Yeah.
example of what the construction track is, we're gonna have somebody who runs that process, right? They're gonna go out there and get a bunch of apprentices this summer, and then they're gonna start building housing using the CEB and the other beta release tools, right? And they're
Yeah.
gonna document that. So they're gonna do on-demand housing and some really cool stuff like Marshall wants to wants to do like living a living roof on his house, and we'll have like a bio methane digester for like biological waste. And then we'll, like just build a bunch of really cool earth brick houses this summer. And then the agricultural track, we'll have greenhouses and permaculture, and we'll do some large field cropping, stuff like that. And then everybody in the shop will be building machines and testing them and stuff like that. So we're getting apprentices who want to focus on these, but we're also hiring people to lead the trainings for these different tracks. And then on Saturdays they're going to do cross training, so everybody will learn. They'll pair up and they'll learn how to do each of these different tracks. So everybody will kind of know a lot about each one of those different tracks. Let me also pull up another cool thing that Martin's doing. If you go back to, actually I'll send you a link. So check this out. Where are you? If you go back to our brainstorming document.
Okay.
Actually, no. Let's go back to the USAID grant document, and then under the building a team link I just put in there. If you click on the XM project page prototype.
Let's see, learning. Oh, there we go.
And scroll all the way to the bottom, right?
Okay.
Got it?
Not quite. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so you see the team roles?
Yeah.
Let's click on that. And this is kind of like a map of the team that we're trying to build. So you can kind of see our recruiting goals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now after you're done looking at that, I'm looking back at the USAID grant.
Okay.
Under section D, the competitive landscape.
Mhm.
Let me do some research on that. So what I'm doing now is I am going to go back to our resource development team page onto the Scrum board, and I'm going to throw down a task for myself on there for that section.
Okay.
So what is it? Competitive landscape?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So section D, measuring success, pre and post evaluations. Also, we are okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like how you're doing your notes on the side better than my notes. That's cool. I'll do that next time.
That's cool. Either way's fine.
Um, okay. So do you wanna check in with me after you feel like you've got your sections of this done?
Yeah,
I this the USAID office, they don't, you can't call them and have a conversation with them, which kind of sucks.
yeah.
But they said we can email questions in.
Yeah.
So
Did
I
you
think
get
we go
oh,
ahead.
did you get a chance to read through the stage descriptions?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
What did you think about my thinking we should put that 1 year of community testing in?
Okay, so let's talk more about that. So you're saying that for a year we're going to test this product locally at Factory Farm, or test our products?
Yeah, I was thinking instead of just building and documenting the 50, um, like the last question of that team culturing survey, it made it sound like in 2013 there was going
Oh,
to be
hey,
like,
Jared.
yeah,
Hold on 1 second.
okay.
Hi, this is Aaron. Oh, is this your number? Is this a number I can reach you at? All right, I'm in a meeting right now. I will call you back after this meeting. All right, thanks. Um, okay, so you were saying test it at Factory Farm, test our products. The last line of the community what? Jared?
The last line of the community culturing survey, or the last question was
Yeah.
like, do you want to be part of a 200 person like
Oh yeah.
local village experimentation
Right.
where we see like using all 50, we see what kind of economic output we can have.
Yeah.
When I was writing about one of the sections is like describe what's innovative about your thing,
Yeah.
and I found myself saying, and correct this if it's wrong, but I found myself saying the innovation we have is like in the closed loop self uh, sustaining aspect of these 50. We're making that really affordable.
You mean the ecology that emerges amongst all the machines in the platform when they work together?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's one of our innovations for sure. And just the open source aspect of it. But one of the unique things about, see, other open source hardware movements exist, but as far as we know, there aren't any other organizations trying to develop an entire platform of technology that works together, like you're saying, in a synergy. So that is totally unique. You can also, like I'm saying, highlight the open source aspect of it because it's pretty unique in itself, and the way that everything is openly documented. Let me pull up what is it, the USAID guidelines. Take a look at the tiers you're saying. Um, div stages. Okay. So stage one, proof of concept, right?
yeah.
The development of innovation ventures will provide stage one funding to support projects to establish viability, technical, organization, distribution, financial, and customer adoption rates. Okay,
Where,
so
where,
what?
where, that's not what I'm looking at. Where are you looking?
It's under further description of stages. It's page 8.
Oh, page 8.
Okay, yeah, diff stages, figure 1, yeah, so further proof of concept. Okay. So we need to establish customer adoption rates. We're starting to get that kind of data. We could definitely use a year to do that. These potential innovations will have to describe how and why they would likely be adopted within 10 years or less by millions of people. I think that's what we're shooting for, no doubt. It's cool that they're shooting for that. Including descriptions of personnel. So, descriptions of personnel, that's part of the new application. Architecture and cost considerations. So, have you seen the development budget for the GBCS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm still just not finding. I'm not sure if you're looking at the same.
Document.
Yeah. Can I just plop a link on our brainstorming?
Yeah. Yep.
It was,
Where is it?
it's under item 3, the USA. Yeah. I was just looking at bottom of page 2, top of page 3.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Funding is intended to test the real world. Blah blah blah. Okay. So okay. Yeah. Clearly established plans to test the solution in an appropriate setting. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. A proposed methodology to assess its feasibility through impact evaluation. Impact evaluation. Performance monitoring. Okay, so let's keep going for a second. The application must discuss competing or existing solutions. So, competing or existing solutions, closed IP commercial manufacturing. You know how viable. We're lowering barriers of entry for the development of enterprise. Our machines, in relation to our commercial competitors, are much more affordable. They last a lifetime, and they're user serviceable. That's probably our main competition. How the proposed solution represents a departure from current practices. You can handle that, and how it's much more cost effective than alternatives. Yeah, all that we can do everything in there. Lead to significant change in outcomes if it's proven to be successful and then ultimately scaled up. Articulate the expected pathway to scale via public sector or private sector or both. So we need to talk about that. You and I need to catch up on that. And any interest from partners. So stage one. Let's copy this. I'm going to put that in our brainstorming document.
Okay.
Oops. All right. So everything that we need to know is going to be in there. Um, so let's break that up. So okay, that's already kind of broken up, but this is a good guideline. So yeah, we can. Okay, so the thing I wanted to cover with you was
Do you mind if I just I wasn't exactly clear if let me I'm I think since the like we have a lot of different innovative aspects of what we're doing, but as I've been trying to write a proposal, I'm starting to think that at its core, like the central innovative thing that we're doing is making this complete microeconomy accessible to people.
Yeah, yeah,
The like closed loop provides everything you need aspect seems like central to our innovation because all of the we're not making up new machines, like all the machines exist already. We're just making them accessible and making them into a set that all supports each other.
yeah. That's absolutely right. And our thinking has refined beyond like the 200 person community. So if you look down at under building a team, that link, it
Okay.
it's number it's 4D.
I see.
Okay. If you take a look at that, I would highly advise you to read through that because that reflects Martin's current thinking on a lot of stuff, right?
Okay.
So what we've evolved into is instead of trying to do 200 people come out and build a village, what we're doing is we're actually building what's called the OSC campus because we're aspiring to create an economy of generalists, people who can do many things. And in order to learn how to build and use all the GVCS tools, people are going to need to know a diverse skill set of or a diverse set of skills, right?
Yeah.
So the campus model reflects that. It's not actually, I mean, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we try and call it a university at this point. It's really just a comprehensive training platform, right? I think
Okay.
simpler is better. We're providing diverse training programs, and we're calling that the OSC campus now. Maybe don't even call it a campus in the grant. Let's just call it a training program. But
Okay.
basically, it's gonna people are gonna learn the different development tracks, and then our goal is to actually prove the viability of what's called the OSC micro factory. So 4 people can earn $80,000 a month in a 4,000 square foot fabrication facility. That's the goal. Is that they can start up, a fabrication shop or a manufacturing center for 80,000, not for 80,000, but for a small initial investment. Make it out of compressed earth bricks and some timber using the sawmill. And the floor will be a concrete slab with our cement mixer, and then they build their machines, and then they can make a ton of money per month selling these machines or running manufacturing off of that. So the that's just kind of like the evolved way that we're thinking about the 200 person community. It's no longer a 200 person village. It's now starting to evolve into more of a campus setting, and then we want to replicate these campus environments throughout the world so that there can be training centers in developing nations, and we want to fast track the viral nature of the micro factory. So you can learn all about that in the building a team section.
See.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's. There's one more. If we go back to the brainstorming,
Yeah.
there's one more grant I want to cover. But do you
Right.
have any other questions before we transition out of USAID?
Uh, no. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so the Shoemaker Family Foundation grant is they're out of Kansas City. That they know the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation, which gave us 100 grand, and they accepted our LOI, so they want to work with us potentially, but they want a full grant proposal. So what we're writing that grant proposal for is we want to hire world leaders within our development fields, right? To come out to factory farm and teach our recruits, um, do workshops on things like how to build an earth block house, how to set up a greenhouse, how to do product design and development, how to do CAD work, video documentation. We want to bring out like some really prominent names and teach these workshops, and then while they're at Factory Farm, we'll pay them to come, and then they will create comprehensive training materials while they're there. So we'll get the best people in the world to make the training materials for their given field. So I'm working on that right now. And I put out a survey to the community to ask them, who do you think are the world leaders in these different subject matters or subjects? So let me just, before I wind up my part of this, let me pull up that survey and send it your way. Hey, hold on a second, Jared. Hey man, I'm in a meeting with Jared. Can I call you back in like 5 minutes?
Hey, aren't we supposed to talk to Pavel?
Oh, is that right now?
Was that one?
Yeah, you're right. I just lost track of time. I've been meeting with Jared from the grants team.
Okay, what do we want to do? You want me to call you in a few minutes? Wait, are you supposed to be on this call or no?
I wanted to be in.
Okay, well, when you're ready, just text me. I'll call Pavel right now. So Floyd's here with me.
Just go ahead and call me. I'll get off. Call me in 1 minute.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
I gotta go because I have another meeting I forgot about.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Send me any questions if you got them. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.